why do I, as a consumer, need 5G?
Different ball game completely, right? It's not about it's not just about content consumption. If it was that,
Till now, we have consumed data, and 5G will transform our lives. Like it will be a lifestyle change.
in 4G you can at best connect, let's say, about 1 lakh devices in 1 square kilometer. With 5G that goes up 10 times. 1 million devices can be connected simultaneously.
So, welcome to the first episode of our podcast, Prune Unfiltered. And today we have the most special person in the company, should I say? क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे नया guest हूँ. He's the first employee in the company. Hello, sir.
Thank you for giving me such a glorious introduction. I was not prepared for it.
Sir, I would like to actually introduce, but मेरे ख्याल से आप ज़्यादा अच्छा तरीके से कर पाएंगे. So why don't you introduce yourself?
So, of course, I think this question from you comes because you want to know why am I talking about 5G or telecom for that matter. So I have about, let's say, about 25 years of telecom experience behind me. I started my career when paging was just introduced. So I did some bit of paging, and then the gap between paging and telecom was not very long or big. So eventually that kind of died on, and we moved on to telecom. So I've done 2G, 3G, 4G, and now I'm from outside doing 5G.
Nice.
Yeah. So of course you know what we do in Prune. So your guests can always check us out at prune.co.in.
Prune.co.in. अभी जाके follow करो.
Right. And so we are essentially kind of aggregating all connectivities and travel related services at one place. We hope to make a difference in users' journey, both on connectivity and also while they travel.
So, sir, you told me that you have 25 years of experience in this, like in this industry, right? So, आपको कभी पहले ऐसे नहीं लगा कि your name is Vivek Malhotra, आप हमेशा बॉस बनने के लिए पैदा हुए थे?
Or no, I think it's a you're throwing googlies at me. No. That's not the point. I think I used to be a boss when I used to work, but ever since I started this business, I'm a janitor. I do everything, so I'm hardly a boss actually.
So, let's come straight to the topic now. Why are we talking about 5G even right now? Like उसको launch हुए इतना time हो चुका है. We all know about 5G, but why is it such a big topic?
So I actually बहुत time नहीं हुआ. I think 5G got launched in India in 2022 in October, 2nd October. The Prime Minister had launched it at Mobile World Congress, which was held in New Delhi. So it's a long journey. You know, I think it's just a starting of a new generation of connectivity. So 6 months in the life of connectivity is a very small journey. Uh, let's say, I mean, it's like a history of a country. You know, I mean, 5 years or 5 months really don't matter, this thing. But I think we are starting off. There is a lot which has to be done. Some bit has been achieved. We have 5G in almost about 3,500 cities across Delhi, NCR, across India. Uh, Among all the, among the two operators, so who've launched 5G. So there is a there is uh, there is a lot more to be done. I mean, considering the number of sites, let's say, country like China has.
Right. So, sir, you told me that a lot needs to be done. So, where are we right now in the 5G spectrum as a nation? Not comparing to China, but as a nation, where are we?
So see, there are quite a number of steps which are required to go into where we are currently. Which is, if I was to talk about the 5G spectrum auction, identification, and participation, and of course allocation of spectrum. But I think eventually, uh, what is happening is that we have just got the operators to roll out in, let's say, about 3,500 cities, which is a okay good number, but it's still small. So that's step one of the process, or the initiation of the first step. Then there are a role which, let's say, the device manufacturers will have a play. You know, they will have to introduce 5G devices so that adoption goes up. And then that's after that is the play of, let's say, uh, you know uh, people who build use cases or experiences around 5G. That's going to come next. So I think we've just kind of set the ball rolling. It's like we are on the seashore and playing with pebbles right now. Long way to go.
So, sir, I have a 5G phone. I use internet all the time, but I use 4G because uh, it's enough internet speed for me. I just need to browse content. I just need to read blogs or watch videos or play games. Everything is being done by 4G, and I think that's enough for me. Why do I, as a consumer, need 5G?
So see, let me say two things. Firstly, 5G, 4G was about content consumption, right? Because we had speeds of, let's say, a certain level which went up almost 10 times with after 3G when 4G came in. Uh, but 5G is a different ball game completely, right? It's not about it's not just about content consumption. If it was that, it doesn't make a difference because I mean, let's say if you could download a movie in 49 minutes, say theoretically in 4G, it could be 49 seconds. But that's not the play. You know, the play is about experiences, things more what you can do. It's a different world. It's a different zone. So it's not even a fair comparison for 4G to be compared with 5G because they are two different generations and there is a lot different. So till now you have used 4G for content consumption because that's the best use case, which was kind of built around 3G, but 4G kind of helped it propagate. But for 5G, it has to be a new set of technological experiences which will make a difference. So we are still to go there.
I am not able to understand. For example, like I am that generation who started using 2G, then came to 3G, and then came to 4G. For 2G, my problem was that internet browsing was not a good option because phone में नहीं चलेगा, आपका website भी नहीं खुलता था. Then came 3G. They said now you can browse internet very well. The internet speed has gone up. You can also watch videos on YouTube. I said okay, but then video started buffering. Then 4G came, and then they said now we have eradicated all the problems. Now you use YouTube, you use any blog, you use any website, you do anything, no buffering and nothing. What will 5G do for me?
So 5G is not just about content consumption, right? So that's what first I'm saying. So let's say what's happening. Let's look at what's happening in the Western world, which is will be a good way to explain what 5G can do. So let's look at let's say driverless cars, right? Most people will say or make us believe that driverless cars may not happen in India because of the kind of traffic we have. But I can still bet on it. 3 years we'll be driving or will be driven. It's an oxymoron that there will be driverless cars. We may not have them in 3 years in India. We may not have them on roads by then, but I'm sure for campuses and other places. So imagine you have been, consuming content which showed you driverless cars. 5G will take you into those cars. So that is a difference. So that's one example of what 5G can possibly do because those technologies, driverless cars, need constant connectivity or touch with the central system so that low latency is what is required. So you know those are the things which will so actually till now you experienced on the screen, you can experience those things in person with 5G.
So you are trying to say that um, till now we have consumed data, and 5G will transform our lives. Like it will be a lifestyle change.
You have what you have watched you will now experience, right? You are you understand experiences like uh, different from consuming content. So 5G is going to be about experiences, right? What experiences it brings in is going to change the life. I'll give an example of driverless cars. Entertainment, I mean, we are a so-called sports loving country, but actually we are a cricket loving country. There is a lot that can happen in the stadiums. Once you go there, you're there in the stadium. Crowd management is a big challenge today because in India, let's say 150,000 people come in at a small place. Once people are there, you need to be managed. So 5G can play a big role. That's from an IoT perspective. From a you see, from the other point also, in 4G, you can at best connect, let's say, about 1 lakh devices in 1 square kilometer. With 5G, that goes up 10 times. 1 million devices can be connected simultaneously. No other technology can do that. So, which means that if you have to interact with, let's say, a billboard asking you to participate uh, in a question or experience there, everybody can kind of participate, simultaneously, right? So that's the power of 5G. No other technology has been able to do that. I mean, current technology, whether you call it Wi-Fi or 4G, it's not going to be able to, match up to this. And that's the reason the quality of production, I'm saying the content production. Let's take the example of a live entertainment, right? It goes up many notches. I mean, today you have cameras which need to beam into a OB van, right? But with 5G, those can directly beam into the studio, and therefore a lot more can be done on the content. Those are a couple of examples, and we can of course talk about more as we progress. But that's the power of 5G. I mean, it's about experience. It's not about content.
So let's discuss more on these applications. You were saying about sports, and abhi recently WWDC में Apple launched their Vision Pro, and from the looks of it, it looks amazing. So where does 5G, AR, VR, and all of this combine?
So, so I think there is a reason why Apple has launched this as Vision Pro, because it's supposed to be it's an expensive device, about 3,500 US dollars is the price. Most folks cannot own it. Some may still go out and own it, but the idea is to create this is kind of directed towards developers currently, that they use and create content for VR, which is eventually going to be consumed through, let's say, maybe different, or maybe eventually a cheaper version of a VR set, right? So the content which is getting created, the intention is to create content which all of us are going to consume using 5G. So it's another stepping stone, and that's what I was talking of. That the operators have rolled out. It's the device industry has a role comes into play, where they have to kind of innovate and bring out devices which will help the consumption of 5G. But I mean, another case in point is, I mean, if I was to build up on VR, we were talking of, in fact, just before this show, we were talking of the match, the IPL final. There were about, let's say, 1,42,000 was the capacity of Narendra Modi Stadium, but the number of fans are much more, much greater. So there will be some diehard fans which would have gone to the stadium and watched it live. But there are other millions of who would have wanted to be there but could not. That's what 5G will make it possible. So 4G makes it great for you to watch it on screen. 5G will make it take you to that stadium virtually to consume the content in the manner as if you are there in the stadium itself. So that's where 5G comes into play. We spoke about driverless cars also. There are, the reason 5G is required. Speed is not the reason why 5G is chosen as a preferred technology or the technology for connected cars, is because of latency. The latency is less than a millisecond, for connectivity, which is what is required for error-free driving, right? Because you see, there is a rule in coding, or I mean, when you are developing something, that there are chances of an error, but that error should not be fatal, right? I mean, it should not cause uh, damage to property, but most definitely should not lead to loss of life. So you need technology like what is called the UR, ultra reliable low latency communication, what is URLLC, what 5G kind of brings in is, it's the reason. And that extension also goes into, let's say, IoT, in the industrial space, in the factories, everywhere, wherever robotic or automation is required, 5G will play a big role. So, I mean, even in there is on the industry side, it's called the Industry 4.0. That will be enabled through 5G. So there is a lot for us to expect. It's not just about content, it's going to be much more than that.
Right now, I'm like, we have some smart cities, we have some 5G networks here and there, but I don't see much of the hardware or much of the industries putting up so much into this.
So actually, that's little bit of a challenge as we see it right now. If you see in last what couple of months, MI has launched some devices. I think none of them were 5G devices. There is a problem, right? We have the lowest handset which came in. The new handset came in, which is a Lava Agni. Actually, it is about 25% more expensive than the earlier version of it. So what is happening is that either the industry is not showing, the device industry is not showing enough confidence, or or rather the other thing they're doing is what is they're calling it the premiumization of devices, which means the average ASP, average selling price of the devices is going up, which is not a great sign, I mean, because in a mass market, in a country like ours where value, we have essentially value conscious consumer. If you have a 18,000, or let's say effectively 22,000 handset, I think Agni costs about 22,000 with a 2,000 rupee discount initially, costs about 20,000 rupees. But I think the benchmark, I would say the number we are looking at is about sub 10,000 number. The device has to come down to about 10,000 number for device, adoption to go. I think you're right, because today at this point of time, only about, I think, 2.5% of telco users are today on 5G, right? That's a very low number. So it's a mix of lack of availability of devices, and which means not many devices are coming in. And the second, of course, is the price. The prices are kind of going up, which is not what we should be looking at.
So I was actually studying this case study from Xiaomi. So they are selling less number of mobile compared to when they were launched, and they have an image of a sustainable, not sustainable, I would say affordable phones. So as an Indian consumer, we want things at a cheap price, but still we want premium things. How do we balance that with 5G? Like, where do
So see, the problem of Xiaomi is different. I think that's because of the problems from a regulatory standpoint. I think they have to sort it out, but I think it's a uphill task for them, considering our international relations with China. So that problem is a big one for them to overcome. The other one is, you see, the government is taking its steps. So there is this what is called the PLI scheme for devices. Is the most popular one. Pre this period, we were doing some 3 million exports of devices. I think last we've exported some 3 billion devices. So India is a net exporter of devices now. We have Apple coming in, manufactured through Foxconn, of course. Tata is showing interest in terms of partnering with Foxconn to develop a factory. Lava has taken initial steps, of taking advantage of PLI scheme, and so has Samsung. The problem is that we are still a net importer of components of devices. So devices are kind of coming as broken down, or rather unassembled things, and they are kind of getting assembled.
So we have this amazing spectrum, 5G spectrum. Okay, we have this amazing technology. How is like how are we, like as a company, as Prune, we are bridging this gap between the consumer and the networking things.
So I think our biggest role is on the last mile of connectivity, which is ensuring connectivity of delivering the SIM cards to the users. So I think we have created a platform where users can come in, order a SIM card, and we have a team of drivers which go out, and we kind of allocate them to the closest. I mean, allocate the customer's demand to the closest driver, and they go and fulfill in terms of completing KYC and delivering the SIM card. So that is what I think we are doing. But I think at the heart of it, what we are doing is enabling connectivity. We are part of the ecosystem of the telcos. I mean, they have on the ground, they have a dealer network. We are the digital side of it. So consumers who are wanting connections on order a connection online. That's what we kind of enable. Uh, well, of course, when I say connections, I don't mean just the operators in India. We are looking at connectivity. We're connecting. We have almost about 200 operators across the world on our platform, and customer can buy connection from any country, which means we are selling local SIMs of each country, right? So if you're planning to go to Thailand, we'll give you a SIM of Thailand, right? Local SIM of Thailand, or any other country for that matter of fact, whether it's Dubai or any other place. So then of course on the we do we also do a little bit of device. We create insights for users for device purchase, but eventually uh, our desire is to create India's first uh, device platform, a device selling platform that kind of sells bundled devices, which comes in with benefits. So we're kind of targeting operators, not targeting but partnering with operators in terms of creating benefit for their existing users to buy a new connection, upgrade to 5G, for example, right? And then on the other side, we have uh, you know. Banking partners who will kind of fund the program, in terms of enabling attractive EMIs for expensive handsets or even other handsets. So I think we are very much going to be part of central part of the scheme of things in terms of as far as connectivity is concerned. Uh, in addition to that, I must also mention we are a licensee of PM Money. So we are looking at also getting Wi-Fi more accessible to the users by connecting them to, at least in the key hotspot areas, CBD areas, central business districts, if there are Wi-Fi's available, how we can easily connect users through our app onto those things. So that's the next goal. I think we should talk about more in about few months from now.
So, sir, I thank you a lot. I learned a lot about 5G and connectivity and also Prune. And I think we should do this very often. What do you think about it?
Yeah, we should definitely, because as at Prune, as we call it, we make a better connection. We surely will make a better connection.
We make a better connection.
Right.
So, guys, tune in to prune.co.in and keep sharing this video. Like and subscribe karte हुए जाना. And we'll see you at the next video.